Hello, and welcome to the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm your host, Karen Yankovich, and I want to talk about something interesting that happens when you scroll LinkedIn for a few minutes. You start to notice a pattern. Like there are people that are incredibly comfortable sharing their ideas, right? They post opinions, they claim expertise, they talk about their frameworks and their strategies and their leadership philosophies. And sometimes, if you're being honest, you read these posts and maybe you're thinking, who is this person, right? Like, I know more than they do. Like, what are they talking about? You've been doing this work for years, decades, right? And you've built real results and you've helped real people and you have real heart for the people whose results that you're seeing, right? You've led teams, you've built businesses, you've solved problems. And when it comes time to press post on LinkedIn, maybe you hesitate a little bit, right? Maybe you rewrite the post 3 times or you soften the language because you want to be careful about how you say it. You make sure you're not sounding too cocky or confident or opinionated or self-promotional, right? And sometimes maybe you don't post at all. Here's what I think is interesting about that. The hesitation, it's not about intelligence. It's not about qualifications. It's definitely not about experience, right? It's about something women learned long before LinkedIn ever existed. Something many of us learned as little girls, right? Be helpful, be humble, be agreeable, be a good girl, right? And listen, the title of the show is Good Girls Get Rich, right? But there's good girls and there's good girls, right? And these are the lessons that follow us all the way into adulthood. And it includes how we show up professionally. It includes how we show up online. And the truth is, those habits come with a cost. When I refer to good girls and good girls get rich, I talk about do what you're good at. Like, do what you're good at because that's where the money is. I know that with every soul of my body. But those habits, I call that the good girl tax. And LinkedIn is one of those places where women are paying that tax every single day. We're paying it in visibility. We're paying it in credibility. We're paying it in opportunity. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to name a few different ways that women pay this tax on LinkedIn. And by the end of this episode, I want you to decide something simple. I want you to decide which one of these taxes are you done paying starting today. I think well, certainly if you're listening to the show, you know that I believe, and many people believe, that LinkedIn has become the modern credibility platform. Recruiters will use it. The media uses it. Speaking opportunities, very often, that's where they originate, right? Board recruiters search there. And women often underutilize it. That's why I specifically focus on women, not because I care. I don't want men to have success. I do. I just think women are underrepresented on LinkedIn, and I want to change that. And here's what the data shows us. LinkedIn data shows us that men are significantly more likely to apply for roles when they partially meet the criteria. They're significantly more likely to message recruiters. They're significantly more likely to present themselves as thought leaders, right? There's a Hewlett-Packard report that says men apply for jobs when they meet 60% of qualifications, and women wait till they meet 100%. That same pattern shows up in LinkedIn's content behavior. Men tend to post with partial certainty, and women need to feel fully credentialed before we do anything. And that creates a gap. That creates a visibility gap, right? And so what happens here is women start to over-explain. So this is our LinkedIn's over-explaining tax. Instead of posting, here's what I learned about helping clients land board roles. Many women will start a post that says, I have a few thoughts. I may be wrong, or I'm not an expert, but all of these things soften your authority, right? And this is that over-explaining tax. Research in workplace linguistics shows that women use more disclaimers, apologies, qualifying language, right? Just sharing, curious at what people think. I could be wrong. Right? I mean, come on. I hope if you're cracking up listening to this and you've done this, I do this, right? It's ingrained in us. We have to make a conscious effort not to pay this tax, right? Authority online comes from clarity, not from hedging and explaining ourselves, right? LinkedIn rewards strong statements, and it's going to show those strong statements to more people. Women are paying the tax. Men are being showed to more people because they are out there with stronger statements. LinkedIn rewards expertise. LinkedIn rewards your perspective. So let's take a beat before we start over explaining ourselves here. Okay. The next thing is what I'm going to call the LinkedIn over delivery tax. And this shows up in content perfectionism. So many women often think a LinkedIn post has to be perfectly written, deeply researched, extremely polished. And now we have the not written by AI. Like most, the bottom line here is that many successful posts are simply one clear idea, one insight, and one opinion, and one talking point, right? Just talking point. Men often treat LinkedIn like a conversation. Women are treating LinkedIn like a publication. And this creates huge disparities in visibility because LinkedIn rewards conversations, because it rewards when people respond to you, right? So start conversations and be confident in starting those conversations, and don't wait until everything's perfect, because then you're paying that over delivery tax. Okay. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. All right. The next one, the LinkedIn agreeability tax. So often women avoid posting opinions that might challenge the norms, provoke debate, contradict like popular narratives. But the reality is thought leadership requires perspective, right? Like you have to be confident in this. And I often, when I work with people privately, I often say, let's find the disruptive topic here. Where do you show up as an expert and as a leader in maybe a little bit of a disruptive way? Because that is where that conversation happens, right? That's where that conversation happens. Because again, that algorithm favors those conversations, that engagement, that discussion. And the safest points are not getting talked about. Nobody's jumping into those conversations. They're like shaking their head yes as they scroll by, right? They get the least amount of visibility. Authority doesn't come from saying what everybody agrees with. Authority comes from saying something worth discussing. So please, no more paying that LinkedIn agreeability tax. All right, here's the biggie. The LinkedIn visibility tax. Many women believe if I do great work, people will find me. But you're here, you're listening, so you know that's not true, right? But the modern authority, like the authority economy, it works differently. Opportunity follows visibility, repetition, right? And positioning. LinkedIn is essentially the biggest search engine on the planet for expertise. Let me say that again. LinkedIn is essentially the biggest search engine on the planet for expertise. So if your expertise isn't visible there, how are the media or the people that are organizing conferences that you might want to be speaking at, or your next client, or those recruiters, how are they going to find you? You're making it harder for them. LinkedIn reports that users who post regularly see up to 5 times more profile views. And those are the cues we're looking for, right? I don't really care how many people see my post. I care how many people look at my profile from my post. Right? That's what we're tracking, right? And more because often more profile views correlates with more opportunities, more inbound, that magnetic effect that we talk about here a lot, right? More inbound opportunities, more credibility signals. All right. So here's your challenge. Your challenge is to choose the LinkedIn tax that you're done paying. You check out the blog and the show notes associated with this if you need to refresh them or listen to this again. Maybe you're going to say, or maybe you'll do more than one, right? But just at least one. I'm done apologizing in my posts. That's it. I'm done apologizing. Please, everybody should be doing that one, right? And maybe pick a second one. I'm done waiting until my post is perfect. I'm done assuming that my work speaks for itself. And like one action today, just take one action today. What action is that going to be? Maybe you'll post one insight from your work, not a manifesto, right? Not like something that's going to take you 2 years to write, not a thesis, just one clear idea. Maybe that's all you do today, right? Maybe make it a little disruptive so that you can engage some conversation. Feel free to tag me, right? And say, Karen, what do you think about this? I heard you talk about this on your show. I'm happy to jump into your conversations, right? There's a reason that the women listening to this podcast are so good at what they do. And that's the reason why I keep doing the show, because I love that the women I get to spend time with care. They care about people. They care about doing great work. They care about delivering real results. They care about authenticity. They care about really providing value for what they do. And these are the qualities that built your expertise. I want to honor that, right? It's right here, right now. But somewhere along the way, many of us learned that credibility was supposed to be quiet, right? Girls are supposed to be seen and not heard. Is that somewhere in your psyche still? That if your work was good enough, somebody's going to notice it, right? And now we have and I happen to be a projector in human design. Now we have human design saying if you're a projector, you should be waiting for opportunities to come to you. And I love this stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always looking for ways, which is why, by the way, I talk about magnetizing these opportunities to you. We actually have a lot of projectors in our She's Linked Up program. Interestingly enough, I guess it's kind of like attracts like, I don't know. Anyway, here's the deal. In smaller professional circles, maybe that worked. Somebody would eventually notice what you're doing. But today we live in a world where credibility travels through these platforms. It travels through conversations. It travels through recommendations. It travels through visibility. And LinkedIn is probably the biggest virtual stage on the planet, but certainly in the professional world, right? So the question is not whether or not you're qualified. The women that listen to this show are wildly qualified. The question is whether or not you're willing to let people see it. Because when people stop paying that good girl tax on LinkedIn, something powerful happens. Their expertise becomes visible. Their ideas travel further. Their authority expands. And the opportunities that follow that visibility, they change careers, they change income, they change influence. And that's what I want, right? I believe that at this moment in time, the world needs your voice. They need to hear your voice. At this moment in time, the world needs more wealthy women. And if we're going to be wealthy women whose voices are heard so that we can affect the change that we want to make on this planet, then we've got to be building this kind of visibility. And it's not just to be seen, right? I mean, I can't even tell you how many times in my visibility salon, I'm like, where's the money, right? I want you to have that visibility. I want your voice to be heard, but I want it to lead to massive wealth. And those are the kinds of things we do inside our visibility salon. We create these opportunities that turns your expertise into credibility and into opportunity. You can check that out at visibilitysalon.com. We have a free week trial. You can check us out for a week. Come hang out with me. Come hang out with all the amazing, amazing, amazing women in this visibility salon. And until next time, just remember that the world no longer needs women to be quieter. It needs more women who are willing to be seen.